No! Where are you going?
I get you.
I'm gonna kill you.
And all I wanted to do was get out of there. I couldn't breathe. What's going on here?
This was not simply a bad marriage proposal. It was a proposal built around making Debby believe she had already lost everything. Mido did not calm her down, explain himself, and then ask her to marry him. He allowed her to believe that the man she had waited nearly 6 years for wanted to leave America. He watched her cry, struggle to breathe, and completely fall apart. Then he revealed the ring. And somehow, the same man who created the fear immediately became the man offering relief from it. That is why so many viewers were disturbed by this scene. The real issue is not whether the ring was beautiful. It is not whether Mido had planned the surprise for days or carried it around for weeks. It is not even whether Debby eventually laughed. The real issue is what happened emotionally before she said yes. Did Mido use the proposal to punish Debby for bringing him to the chapel? Was he trying to take back control after feeling pressured? Was this an aspiring actor creating the most dramatic moment possible because cameras were present? Or did Mido truly want to return home, see Debby's reaction, panic, and use the ring to escape the situation? And then there is the biggest question of all. Why did Debby accept the proposal before getting the one thing she had repeatedly said she still needed? Mido still had not clearly told her he loved her. The engagement gave Debby a ring, a promise, and temporary relief. But it did not resolve the trust problems, the Hollywood concerns, the arguments over money, or the fear that Mido may be more committed to building an American career than building a stable marriage. And according to public record reporting, Debby and Mido later married. So this is no longer just a discussion about one strange proposal. It may be a preview of how their actual marriage handles pressure, fear, and control. The question is not only what the proposal meant that day. The question is what it taught both of them about how this relationship works. Debby did not bring Mido to that chapel for no reason. She had reached the point where uncertainty was no longer romantic, exciting, or mysterious. It was exhausting. She had invested years in the relationship. She had helped complete the K-1 process. She believed Mido was coming to America because they were finally going to become husband and wife. But once he arrived, Debby did not appear to receive the certainty she expected. Instead, she heard about acting. She heard about Hollywood. She was asked to help create social media content. She watched Mido imagine a future that sometimes appeared to place his career at the center and their relationship somewhere around the edges. That does not automatically mean Mido used her. Debby has publicly defended him against that accusation. She has pointed out that he left his country, his family, his language, his work, and everything familiar to start over in America. That sacrifice should not be dismissed. Moving across the world for someone creates pressure that viewers watching from home may never fully understand. Mido may have arrived excited, but he also arrived dependent. He had less freedom, less familiarity, and less control over his daily life. He may have felt that every personal ambition was treated like evidence against him. If he talked about acting, people called him suspicious. If he mentioned Hollywood, people questioned whether he loved Debby. If he wanted to build something for himself, Debby's friends appeared ready to call him an opportunist. That would frustrate almost anyone. But Debby's concerns were not imaginary either. She did not bring a casual boyfriend to New Orleans. She brought a man who was supposed to become her husband. So when Mido began focusing on classes, content, California, and celebrity dreams before giving her a firm marriage plan, Debby naturally started wondering where she fit. Was she his partner? Was she his sponsor? Was she his financial safety net? Was she his content assistant? Or was she simply the person who helped him reach the country where he believed his real future could begin? Those questions existed long before the chapel. The chapel simply forced both of them to stop avoiding them. Debby appeared to believe that bringing Mido to the venue would create clarity. She wanted him to see the possibility of a wedding. She wanted a decision. She wanted evidence that the 6-year relationship was moving somewhere real before the visa deadline made the decision for them. But from Mido's perspective, the chapel may have felt less like a romantic surprise and more like an ambush. He had not agreed to visit a wedding venue. He already felt pressured. Now he was standing inside a chapel while Debby talked about marriage as though the emotional decision had already been made. Mido's discomfort was obvious. He did not look like a man imagining his wedding day. He looked tense, unhappy, and ready to escape. And this is where Debby's behavior also deserves scrutiny. She wanted reassurance, but she tried to create reassurance through pressure. She did not ask Mido to sit down and honestly explain what was preventing him from committing. She placed him inside the physical symbol of commitment and expected the environment to force an answer. That was controlling in its own way. But what Mido did next took the conflict somewhere much darker. He told Debby that he wanted to go home. Debby believed him. She did not react like someone hearing a harmless setup to a proposal. She reacted like someone watching 6 years of emotional investment disappear in seconds. She left the chapel crying. She appeared unable to calm herself. She said she could not breathe. And Mido knew that she believed the relationship was over. He also knew that he had a ring. That detail changes everything. Because the proposal was not created by surprising Debby with happiness. It was created by first convincing her that her worst fear had come true. Now, we cannot claim to know exactly what Mido felt in that moment. We cannot diagnose him from an edited television sequence. We also cannot confirm that every pause happened exactly as the episode presented it. Reality television regularly compresses conversations, rearranges reaction shots, and extends dramatic silence. But even after allowing for editing, Mido's own explanation creates a serious problem. He described the proposal as his surprise in response to Debby surprising him with a chapel. She surprised him, so he surprised her back. That does not sound like a proposal designed only around love. It sounds like a response. Possibly even payback. Debby made Mido feel trapped by the chapel, so Mido created a situation where Debby felt completely powerless. She controlled the location. He controlled the emotional ending. She wanted to force a decision. He made her believe he had chosen the decision she feared most. Then he revealed that he had the power to reverse it. That is the hidden power struggle inside this entire scene. A normal proposal is supposed to increase security. Mido's proposal removed security first. Then it restored security on his terms. He became the source of Debby's heartbreak and the source of her relief inside the same moment. And relief is powerful. When a person believes they are about to lose someone they love, discovering that the loss is not real can create an emotional high. The relief can be so overwhelming that it temporarily pushes every other problem out of sight. That appears to be what happened with Debby. Once she saw the ring, the question was no longer, "Why did you let me believe you were leaving?" The question became, "Are we really engaged?" Her fear disappeared. Her excitement returned. She began focusing on the ring. But the relief did not prove the relationship was suddenly healthy. It only proved that the immediate threat had been removed. That difference matters. Debby did not calmly evaluate Mido's behavior and decide it was acceptable. She moved from emotional devastation to emotional rescue. She was not comparing the proposal against her standards. She was comparing the engagement against the future she had believed was gone. Of course, the ring felt wonderful after that. Almost anything would feel wonderful after believing the relationship had just ended. And this is where the scene becomes more concerning. It does not appear to be the first time uncertainty has been turned into entertainment inside their relationship. Earlier in the season, Debby experienced confusion surrounding Mido's travel and communication. She was left questioning whether he would arrive when expected. What Mido may have viewed as dramatic, playful, or funny created genuine anxiety for Debby. That earlier situation matters because many viewers now believe the chapel proposal fits a pattern. Mido creates uncertainty. Debby becomes frightened. Mido returns, explains himself, or changes the emotional direction. Debby becomes relieved. Then the original behavior receives less attention because Debby is too grateful that the relationship survived. The cycle does not require Mido to consciously plan every step. A relationship pattern can develop even when neither person sits down and decides to create it. One partner learns that withdrawal creates control. The other learns that relief is more important than accountability. Then the pattern repeats because it works. The social media argument offered another version of the same struggle. Mido wanted Debby to record him while he was driving so he could use the footage for content. Debby reportedly took photographs instead of recording the video he expected. That should have been a small misunderstanding. Instead, it became a much larger argument about respect, support, and the future. Mido appeared to feel that Debby was not taking his career seriously. Debby appeared tired of being expected to participate in building his image. Both reactions reveal something important. From Mido's perspective, acting and content creation may be real work. Asking his partner to help film a short video may have seemed completely reasonable. But from Debby's perspective, she had already done something enormous for him. She helped bring him to America. She opened her home. She was dealing with the visa deadline. She was facing questions from friends and family. She was trying to understand whether they were planning a wedding. So being treated like she failed him because she captured the wrong type of footage may have made her feel less like a fiancé and more like an unpaid assistant. That fight was never really about a phone. It was about whose dream mattered more. Mido wanted proof that Debby supported his career. Debby wanted proof that Mido valued the relationship before the career. Neither one gave the other what they were requesting. Then Hollywood became the next major pressure point. Mido arrived in New Orleans, but his attention quickly appeared focused on California and the entertainment industry. There is nothing wrong with ambition. Mido should not be expected to abandon every personal goal because he moved for a relationship. But his dream appeared to require Debby to make even more sacrifices. Debby already had an established life. She had work. She had family. She had friends. She had a home. Mido's preferred future may require acting classes, more content, travel, and possibly moving closer to Hollywood. From Debby's perspective, she had already waited years and completed the immigration process. Now she may also be expected to finance a new career and reorganize her life around it. So, when does Mido begin sacrificing for the relationship they are supposed to share? Mido may answer that question by pointing to everything he already left behind in Egypt. And that is why both people feel unappreciated. Debby sees the paperwork, the waiting, the home, and the financial support. Mido sees the country, family, language, career, and identity he left behind. Each person believes they have already made the bigger sacrifice. That creates resentment. And resentment is sitting underneath almost every argument they have. It also creates a very unusual power imbalance. Debby has practical power. She understands the country. She has the established home. She may control access to transportation, classes, and other resources. She can refuse to fund Mido's plans. She can question whether the relationship should continue before the deadline. Mido appears to have emotional power. He can withhold reassurance. He can delay commitment. He can suggest that he wants to leave. And he knows Debby becomes deeply destabilized when she believes she may lose him. Debby may control the material environment, but Mido controls whether she feels chosen inside that environment. Before the chapel proposal, Debby appeared to believe she had the stronger position. Commit to marriage. Show that the relationship comes before Hollywood. Otherwise, go home. But the moment Mido appeared to accept that option, Debby's boundary collapsed. She did not respond like someone prepared to let him leave. She responded like someone who had never truly believed he would call her bluff. That reaction may have taught Mido more than any argument could. Debby can threaten consequences. She can say she will send him home. She can insist that she will not tolerate uncertainty. But when the loss feels real, she may accept almost anything to prevent it. That gives Mido tremendous leverage in future disagreements. Again, that does not prove he is consciously creating some master plan. But people notice which behaviors work. If suggesting departure immediately ends Debby's resistance, that threat may appear again. The bigger issue is why losing Mido affects Debby so deeply. She is not only afraid of losing the man. She may be afraid of losing the meaning she attached to the previous 6 years. Walking away would not simply end the current relationship. It could force Debby to confront every warning she ignored, every argument she defended, every dollar spent, every family disagreement, every promise she believed, every future plan she built around Mido. The longer someone invests in a relationship, the harder leaving can become. Not because the relationship is becoming healthier. Sometimes leaving becomes harder because the cost of admitting it failed keeps growing. Debby may feel she has come too far to quit, but that thinking can become a trap. Every new sacrifice becomes the reason to make another sacrifice. The ring then represents more than an engagement. It becomes proof that Debby was not wrong. Proof that the waiting meant something. Proof that Mido really chose her. Proof she can show her daughter, her friends, and every viewer who questioned the relationship. That makes it much harder for Debby to examine how the ring was delivered. Because criticizing the proposal would mean criticizing the meaning she desperately needs it to have. And that brings us to the detail viewers should not ignore. Debby had said she wanted more than a ring. She wanted Mido to clearly say that he loved her. The proposal answered a practical question. Would Mido marry Debby? But it did not fully answer the emotional question. Could he give her the affection, reassurance, and vulnerability she had been asking for? When Debby appeared to prompt him to say the words, he still did not give her the exact declaration she wanted. Yet she did not continue pushing. Why would she? She had just believed he was leaving. She had the ring. She had the engagement. The immediate danger was gone. Demanding more may have felt like risking everything again. That is how boundaries quietly disappear. A person begins with 2 requirements. Then fear enters the situation. Once they receive one requirement, they become too relieved to enforce the other. The standard changes because the relationship survived, not because the underlying relationship improved. Debby's daughter and friends make this dynamic even more complicated. They have questioned Mido's motives, his behavior, and his acting ambitions. Their concern may be completely genuine. They may believe they are protecting someone they love. But outside criticism can sometimes strengthen the exact relationship people are trying to challenge. The more Debby's support system attacks Mido, the more pressure Debby may feel to defend him. Defending Mido then becomes connected to defending herself. She is no longer only arguing that Mido is misunderstood. She is arguing that her own decisions were not foolish. Mido's conflicts with her friends can push Debby deeper into that position. She may begin to feel that supporting her partner requires rejecting the people warning her. Mido may believe that if Debby does not defend him, she is betraying the relationship. Her friends may view every defense as further proof that she is in denial. Everyone becomes more extreme, and honest conversation becomes almost impossible. There is also a cultural difference, but viewers need to discuss it carefully. Mido has referred to his own cultural and religious expectations when explaining what he considers disrespectful. Debby communicates differently. She is direct. She is emotional. She expects verbal reassurance. She believes that after 6 years, certain questions should not be difficult to answer. It would be wrong to treat Mido's behavior as a representation of Egyptian men or Egyptian culture. This is about Mido's individual behavior. What we can say is that Mido sometimes uses his personal understanding of culture during conflict, while Debby uses the visa timeline, financial support, and her position in America as pressure. Both have power. Both sometimes use that power instead of directly expressing fear. Debby's fear is that Mido came for opportunity rather than love. Mido's fear may be that Debby believes his dependence gives her the right to control his future. Those fears are understandable. Their methods are the problem. And viewers are strongly divided over who carries the greater responsibility. Many viewers are saying the proposal felt emotionally manipulative. They point to Mido smiling while Debby was still distressed. Some fans feel he appeared more excited about the success of the surprise than concerned about what the surprise was doing to her. That is an interpretation. We cannot confirm that Mido enjoyed Debby's pain, but his timing and expression clearly created that impression for a large part of the audience. Another section of the audience is placing more responsibility on Debby. These viewers believe she sees the warning signs but chooses to protect the fantasy. They point to the gap between what Debby says and what she actually enforces. She says she will send Mido home. Then she breaks down when he appears ready to leave. She says she needs a proposal and a declaration of love. Then she accepts the ring without receiving the second requirement. She privately questions whether Hollywood is the real goal. Then she publicly defends Mido against people raising the same concern. That has created one of the most important debates around this couple. Was Debby emotionally pressured into accepting? Or had she already decided that keeping Mido mattered more than the conditions she claimed were necessary? Both explanations may contain truth. Debby can be affected by Mido's behavior and still remain responsible for her decisions. Mido can feel pressured by Debby and still remain responsible for how he responded. This is not a story where one person must be completely innocent for the other person's behavior to be concerning.